Hello, and welcome to your first day of your new career. I do hope you've read your paperwork thoroughly, for if you have not, please advise your supervisor immediately. Now then, let's play catch-up on the nitty-gritty. Your employer, S.I.S was once the most predominant company in the business of pharmaceuticals. Founded by a man with a doctorate and a vision of a world free of disease and common ailments, Frank Hawkenstock was truly ahead of his time. With only the best of doctors and biologists from around the globe at his side, Hawkenstock spent countless hours and nights experimenting and creating various versions of a saline that would help the human body destroy any harmful bacteria that enters it. After the saline formula was chemically perfected, it was tested and seemed to exterminate any introduced harmful bacteria in rodents and common household dogs, with seemingly no harmful side effects. It was then time to test it with people. It was first tested on the human species as a direct injection to the liver, kidney, and stomach. With the help of civilians willing to undergo such a surgery for the sake of what we believe to be the greater good, Hawkenstock was able to realize that this method, although successful, would inevitably lead to the patients losing their lives within days to weeks. After multiple ways and methods of introducing the saline into the human body followed by consistent failures, it was then decided that a simple injection into the blood would be the last resort. Although first thought to be the least efficient method, they decided to give it a go. The tests were a success with seemingly, yet oddly, no signs of side effects a month after the subject was injected. And thus the saline was quickly introduced and demonstrated to various big shots in the pharmaceutical industry, and was well received. This in turn allowed S.I.S Corp to acquire the funds to obtain many properties to continue experimenting and perfecting the saline. After just 7 months of the saline's continuous testing, Hawkenstock would receive a phone call that would change the future of the newly founded company and its mission altogether. The patients of the initial round of testing were starting to hallucinate images of a reaper of sorts that would consistently taunt them to commit heinous acts against those around them. They were also becoming more and more aggressive in nature, some even ripping their own hair out and disfiguring their own flesh when simply being approached by the nurses and staff. It was also reported that one patient had taken his own life and was found with the word Libertas carved into his chest, which was assumed to be self-inflicted. Hawkenstock quickly and quietly informed those monitoring and running the various test sites to essentially abandon the locations and put the patients on quarantine. A move that seemed essential and would prevent anyone on his team of researchers from being harmed or have one of these patients be released into the public. This act from Hawkenstock did not sit well with those who had funded the company and the project, and ordered S.I.S Corp clean up its mess and help the people now trapped in these testing sites in any possible way he can. And so Hawkenstock created, well, your position. The original Search and Obtain, also known as S.A.O squad, was sent to search for the patients throughout the research centers and obtain information on the progress, or lack thereof, of the patient's conditions. Unfortunately, due to the patient's side effects mutating over the course of time, the squad seemed to shrink in numbers by the hour, as well as the number of patients. Few patients stand today in these locations, and S.I.S Corp now stands as a clean-up crew employer, rather than the innovative pharmaceutical giant it was. Which now leads us to your role in this act of service to society. Your duty is to enter these facilities ready to make a difference. You must retrieve any documents about the saline and any trace of the saline itself. It is essential we destroy every last drop and every last memory of this experiment. But please, do not expose any part of yourself or the environment to the saline. so it's best to deliver it to the company and allow us to take care of the matter. Now to discuss the dangerous aspect of this mission. Although a majority of the patients have since passed or were destroyed, very few remain in these facilities. A few to note are Susan Rhodes from Facility 108, who the company has now documented as the Void. Another patient to note would be in Facility 2, a woman by the name of Kat Belland, now known as the Giggler due to reports of her laugh causing deafening to a former employee, so be sure to not stick around long. Now, if you by chance happen to be wondering just why it is that every last trace of the saline be destroyed, just recently, the company has received a report of a reptilian life form that, after being taken down and its blood and DNA tested, was found to be a common forest salamander which had 90% of its blood containing a liquid that shared the same chemical formula found in the saline. It's important to note, this reptilian was not discovered in a facility, but rather a few miles away from Facility 15 near a logging operation. To think what could have happened had it been a logger who stumbled across this life form, and not an S.A.O. squad. It is believed that the reptile was perhaps drinking some spilled saline for hydration after it had found itself lost within the quarantined facility. Once the mutation set in, it simply stumbled its way out and back to its habitat. Had it not been hostile to the S.A.O. squad, it may have been a great study. But alas, it now stands as an example of what just may happen if the saline was exposed to not only the public, but to nature itself. Well, you are now caught up on the nitty-gritty. A lot to memorize, isn't it? For further information on facilities, procedures, and various other essential safety protocols, please resort to the various training tapes that are issued to every S.A.O. squad member the day of sign-on. But for now, on behalf of S.I.S Corp, we thank you for your bravery and effort to making things right, and most of all, safe. We hope to see you at S.I.S Corp headquarters very soon. Be safe and have an excellent day.